Hi everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Monday Movie Pickup. Alright, so we have a lot for this episode. I'm going to try to get through some of the smaller things before I get to the big stuff. And here, let's just get into it. So, I think everyone already saw my review of Storks. I did it recently. I didn't own the movie, and I remember thinking it was okay, and watching it again, yeah, still a decent, okay movie. It's not the funniest thing, it's not the most original thing, but, you know, it's a fun idea, and it does it well. Like I said in the video, I think it maybe should have just been a short film, but anyway, on to Meteor Man. This is a movie that I actually grew up with. It's an older movie that my dad had bought on DVD, so it was one that we always kind of went back to, and it was actually one of the last DVDs I had to update in my collection. So I think everything that I ever had on DVD originally, before I started getting Blu-rays, has now been upgraded to Blu-ray. Granted, my original DVD collection is pretty small. You can see that in really old videos from the past. But now everything is on Blu-ray. I had to wait for this movie for quite a while because it was pretty expensive, but recently they must have done a reissue of it or something because it suddenly had a smaller price. It wasn't out of print, or it didn't seem out of print. This was actually released by Olive Films. I have a couple other movies from Olive Films. No special features, nothing too special about it, but it's Meteor Man, probably the first cinematic black superhero, I believe. So it's one that a lot of people forget. It's kind of a random one, but you know, I have memories with it. I don't think it holds up, but a lot of memories. Grease. This is a collection I've been wanting to get for a long time. It was a steelbook. I thought when it came out it was gonna go out of print pretty quick, but I actually found it recently for a pretty good price. I think it originally came out for like $30, but now it was down to like $10. I think I actually got it even for less than that. It has the original film, which I actually do own already, the older release of it, but it actually came with the sequel and the live version. I remember seeing parts of the live version. I never saw the whole thing, but the sequel I saw years ago. I knew enough about Grease when I was a kid, and I was surprised to learn there was a sequel, and it was a movie that me and my sister had borrowed from the local video store, and it was weird. All I really remember about it was there was a huge plot point about the sex ed class, and they were like singing in the sex ed class, and it really wasn't similar to the original Grease at all. But I'm excited to see it again in high definition Blu-ray quality. Michelle Pfeiffer's in the sequel. I didn't even realize that, but it'll be fun to go back to that one. Glitter. Here's another one I did a review of recently. This is the Mill Creek release, which has a deal with Sony to release a couple different Columbia and TriStar films, some of the more lesser known films, and this definitely is lesser known. It's a bad movie, and reading online about it nowadays, it seems like a lot of people consider it one of the worst movies, but it's not one I hear talked about a lot. And if you want to learn more about it, just go watch my review. But man, I can see what they were going for with it, but it just did not work out. Alfred Hitchcock's Strangers on the Train. It's pretty weird. I didn't own Strangers on the Train until now, and it doesn't come on the Universal set. This is a Warner Brothers release. What's weird is that the Alfred Hitchcock set that was released in the US actually included North by Northwest on the Universal set, even though that's not a Universal film. It's a Warner Brothers film, but the UK version of that set didn't include it. Must have been a rights thing. I bought North by Northwest separately, but for years I held off on this. This is considered one of his best films. That's not included on that box set. While being a Warner Brothers film, it's kind of weird to me that this wasn't included on the US set at least. Regardless, I just haven't gotten to buying it for years. I had the UK set, I had the separate release for North by Northwest, so I finally got the separate Strangers on the Train release. I've seen this many times. I think they showed this more than once in a few of my film classes, so it's a great movie. If you haven't seen it already, I mean, it's Alfred Hitchcock. I'm getting closer to owning just about every movie he's ever made. You've seen on some previous episodes that I've been picking up some of his work, and you're probably wondering, why did I wait on Strangers on the Train for so long? I don't know. So I finally also got Joker. This movie is a steelbook from Target, and it was a really good price. Sadly, it looks like at Target and Walmart, the DVD and Blu-ray section hasn't been restocked. I thought maybe it was because of the pandemic. I know that they haven't been fast about restocking everything in every aisle because there's been a lot of different reasons for, the pandemic's just slowing things down. But they've really cut down the Blu-ray section. Even Walmart used to be 3 rows, but now they're down to 1 row of movies. I don't know if every Walmart's doing this, and then the Target is doing it as well, so I'm beginning to wonder if they're just going down to selling only new releases and then scrapping every other movie release. Digital pretty much is taking over. I always kind of knew that was happening. Obviously, this Blu-ray collection is going to stop eventually. I love Blu-ray. I've argued before that it's the best way to watch movies still, even compared to digital. I mean, quality-wise, you got to trust the Blu-ray over digital, but I see Blu-ray ending. I don't think it's going to last the next decade. I'd be surprised. We'll see what happens. It'll probably remain as the movie version of vinyl, where movie lovers love getting Blu-ray, but that's about it. So smaller releases, lesser releases, Shout Factory will still exist, but there won't be aisles at the store anymore, more than likely. I saw Best Buy doing the same thing, actually, where their Blu-ray section completely dwindled down, so it's happening everywhere. But I finally got Joker because it was a good price, and maybe that's why they're just trying to get rid of this stuff at this point, but that's why I'm going to be hopping into these stores then as I can. But speaking of Joker, which was another release I had waited a long time to get, finally got the Batman original series on Blu-ray. I've waited a long time to get this. I am really excited to finally get into the series. 120 episodes remastered, and this show was very famously not released on DVD or Blu-ray for so many years. They finally got all the rights issues figured out to release it. Now that Disney owns 20th Century Fox, I don't know if that adds yet another parameter to doing another release in the future, but they did a release in, I think it was 2013, the really big box set that's pretty expensive. Then they did a smaller release a little bit after that. This is actually the re-release of that same smaller set from 2018. It's virtually the same exact thing. I think they threw some new logos on it, but yeah, the original series, and I don't know, I'm just happy to finally get it. I've always been so amazed by the original coloring of the film, so it'll be kind of cool to see it on Blu-ray, the way it was meant to be seen. The colors are really going to pop, and frankly, I think it got a bit of a bad rap. I know it's a longer movie. I don't think a lot of people went to see it, but I dig it a lot. I think it pays tribute to the original film, but also the original book, and it does the new book some service. Ewan McGregor is great in it. The villain is great. The young character is great. The Overlook Hotel is great. This is a good movie. And I really want to get this specifically for the director's cut. Even though the movie didn't make money, I love Warner Brothers because even if their movies don't do as successful as they were hoping, they really pay respect to their directors. And it was cool that they included the director's cut. And if you haven't seen it, it's actually available on HBO Max. So if you want to see it, or even the original cut, you can do that. But I love this movie enough to check out the director's cut. Alright, then I got some Shout Factory stuff. And Shout Factory, buying stuff from their website, as far as the shipping goes, that's what brings the price up. But usually their sets are kind of pricey anyway, depending on if you can hit those sales. They don't really have resale value because people who are buying them aren't really selling them again. So it's kind of hard to find used copies on Amazon or in local stores. But weirdly enough, Walmart has gotten Shout Factory sets and Blu-rays selling in their stores, sometimes for Shout Factory prices, which is nice because it at least gets rid of the shipping costs. But sometimes the price is even less than what you would find on the Shout Factory website, which is exactly what happened with the Legally Blonde collection. I love the first Legally Blonde. The second one is not good, but the first one is really good. I still think it's an excellent movie. I watched it recently. I still think it holds up, and I've been wanting to get this set ever since it was announced. And as part of the Shout Selects series, which is a pretty interesting series. It's almost like they're doing a Criterion thing and numbering all of the films. Some of these are already going out of print, like they recently did the Bruce Lee sets, which went out of print right before Criterion got them. So there's a couple other of the movies that have gone out of print. They always have a yearly list of everything that's going to go out of print, and so I try to keep up with that. This isn't out of print, I don't think, at the moment, but I really wanted to get this set because, it came on 2 discs, which is, great. I actually was at Walmart and I saw they had Legally Blonde, the set that was just released by the studio itself. And I don't know if that's 1 disc or 2, I didn't check, but, just price-wise even, this was literally less than the other set, which this one's the better version to get. This has new scans of the original film cells. This has, I think, new commentaries too. Interviews. So not too many new special features, I guess, but kind of crazy that the Shout Factory set was less money than the studio set. So I have the Omen Collection here. I was not intending to buy this. I actually have a different Blu-ray set that they released a couple years ago. The set right here, this is that cheaper set that they released. It doesn't come in the best packaging, but I think it was done for budget costs, and it's a fine enough set to get if you want to just get some of the movies. But this doesn't include it includes the remake, but it doesn't include, whoop, I almost dropped it. It doesn't include the 4th film, Awakening. It doesn't include that one. I'm not really sure why it wasn't included. I don't know if it's a rights thing or what, but I guess if I dig into this other set, I'll find out, because this set, which is no longer necessary, I can move on from it, because this set actually has all of the movies, including Awakening. Yeah. I also like with these sets that they always have them, individual cases and everything like that, so this is actually the same exact packaging that they had for the Fly collection, which actually, it's the exact same boxes if you put them side by side. It's the same box, but I like that they release them with separate Blu-ray cases. So, if you're one of those people that maybe don't necessarily want them all grouped together by movie series, you could do it alphabetically depending on the title of their film. So I've gone into that before. I think literally when I bought the Fly set, I went into that same exact spiel. But it's real cool that this is now the complete collection. It has everything, the remake and the 4th film, and way more special features. So, real happy. I actually saw that one at Walmart too, and that's why I bought it. It was the same price that you can get at Shout Factory, but it cuts out the shipping, so I was like, might as well do it before I regret it and it goes out of print. Oh, but I know why you're all here. The big one. The one that I wasn't actually going to get. I was going to hold back, but there was a couple reasons why I decided to get it. So, I have the Friday the 13th set here. This is out of print, and it's very expensive online, or at least before Shout Factory, announced their set, this was very expensive, because this was the only way to get every film. You can get the 8 film collection, which has the first 8 films, which was released after this on Blu-ray. You could always get them on DVD as well, individual releases. And this was the only way to get it with Freddy vs. Jason plus the remake, which you could also, there's actually even a separate release where those 2 movies come together along with the original Nightmare on Elm Street. But this set was the only way forever that you could get Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X on Blu-ray. The 2 New Line films were on this set only for Blu-ray. That was it. You could get the 8 film collection, but you're not going to get 9 and 10. End of story. So that's why this set, it went on to print, was very expensive for so many years. I always joked that, if I'll ever need money, I can always sell my Friday the 13th set for at least $500, because that's literally how much some of it was going for. And this came with a lot of goodies, which is it's awesome. And cool tin, all the movies. One of my biggest issues was that the bonus disc was just a DVD, which kind of sucked. And then the rest of the movies were on 1 disc. So Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X, the ones that were not available anywhere else, were on 1 disc. Same thing with the 8th and 7th part, and with the 6th and 5th part. The rest of them were on single discs. I don't really know why they did that, because even with, I guess some of those later movies weren't hailed. I don't know if any of the movies were ever hailed, but I get why the later films, which people don't consider to be as good, got smashed together on 1 disc, which I don't really agree with, because come on, you can't tell me that a movie that's an hour and a half, or around that amount of time, and put 2 of them on 1 disc is gonna, quality wise, be compressing anything. Like, come on, it's gonna be doing some compression of some sort if you're putting it on 1 disc, so just don't do it. If you're already releasing like the biggest set of all time, you don't need to compress them onto 2 movies on 1 disc. You don't need to do that. So that was my one issue with it, but it was a worthy enough set. It had a lot of special features. It was the most complete thing you were ever going to get. Went out of print, probably for rights issues. I mean, it was kind of hard to get Warner Brothers to be working with Paramount to release a set. I think this was only possible because I think that actually was something to do with Interstellar. When it came out, they financed the movie together, and there was some clause in there which I think made this set possible. I mean, I might have to look that up after, but I'm pretty sure Interstellar made that Friday the 13th box set possible. I mean, it even came out around the same time. However, Shout Factory's to the rescue again. This year they announced that they are going to be doing every movie again on a box set, including the remake, including Freddy vs. Jason, and a bunch of new special features, including 2 new Blu-ray discs with just bonus features. A couple of years ago, they released this Halloween set. This has the 10 Halloween films, so, the 2 remakes plus the other 8, H2O, the sequel, and all the other original films. And this is the smaller set because they actually released a big box set which came with a bunch of additional discs that I skipped out on, and now that set's out of print. So this time, I thought, should I get the Friday the 13th box set? Well, I have this set, even though it's not perfect. This is not a perfect set, but it was expensive even when I bought it. It was like around $100 some. But I saw this set at Best Buy and I was like, I can't pass it up. I just can't, because I know it's going to go out of print, and I know that these 2 extra discs that are thrown in at the end, right here, I just know that this is going to go out of print, and I'm going to miss out on getting these 2 extra discs, which, you know what, I'm so glad I got this. I've been hearing good things about it so far. I hear there are some issues with some of the discs here and there, not major things, but definitely, if you're a hardcore fan, look it up before you go out and buy it, just in case. I know there were specific issues with Jason X, Jason Goes to Hell, and there was something, I think, with the 3rd film as well, something to do with the credits. But, yeah, do your research before you buy it. It's not major issues. All the discs will play. I guess there have been issues where the wrong discs have been in the wrong cases, so you want to watch out for that, too. But I made sure to go to Best Buy, and I saw it there, and I checked it when I got home. Everything's there. So, this is, once again, now this is the second time all the movies have come together on one set, but individual cases, which I love, and in some cases, they've been releasing it with 2 discs. This is the first time the theatrical cut's been on Blu-ray. Usually they only release the uncut version, which it's only a few extra minutes. I think it's literally like 2 or 3 minutes added to the film. But the theatrical cut, regardless, and I'm a big fan of adding every cut, no matter how many minutes you add or, take away or whatever, I want every cut of the film on one release, because why not? Even if the uncut version is the preferred version. It's real cool that the theatrical cut finally hits Blu-ray for the first time. We got other films here. So we got the second one, which they got new special features on every disc as well. The 3D one, which is the first time you can actually watch it in a 3D player. This was not in actual modern day 3D when it was released on that other set from 2013. Crazily enough, they gave out the red and blue glasses, for that cheesy kind of 3D look, but they didn't release the actual 3D version that's possible on the TV. You got the final chapter, and then my favorite part is the fact that they actually gave separate discs for the sequels. The 5th one has a separate disc. My favorite of the entire franchise, the 6th film, which a lot of people hail as the best one, it gets a separate release finally. It doesn't have to be smashed and compressed onto a disc with another film. Same with the 7th one, which I still have never seen. I have to get to that someday. The 8th one, the New Line films, which actually, Jason Goes to Hell, same thing. They get 2 discs because they're putting the unrated and the theatrical cut on one set, which that was another thing that didn't happen with that other earlier set from 2013. They have Jason X, Freddy vs. Jason, the new remake Friday the 13th. So I'm super happy with what they did with this set. I just know that if you don't get the set, it's going to go out of print, and I assume they're going to do the same thing as Halloween. They're going to release a later set that has just the movies, maybe not every additional disc. If you want to hold off for that, I guarantee it probably will happen, but you're not going to get these 2 bonus discs. That's not going to happen. You know, just, you got to follow history. You got to follow this pattern. This is what Shout Factory does. They're going to release a smaller, more budget set, but it's not going to have everything, and it's still going to be pretty pricey to get that set even. So you maybe want to just go ahead and spend the money now to get what is probably going to be the most complete Friday the 13th set ever. I mean, it's kind of hard to say that definitively at times, because yeah, a lot of movies do get re-released. You know, and even like this year, Back to the Future is getting a new release for the 35th anniversary. Even though they did one for the 30th, that had a bonus disc, and I was gonna hold off. I'm like, I'm not getting the 4K version. I don't need Back to the Future again. But they literally added more special features, and I love that movie so much. I'm going for it again. It happens a lot where they just keep throwing out new releases over and over and over again in movies, and they keep adding a few special features. I've gotten strong at a lot of points where I don't do it. There was a new Star Wars set last year. I didn't do it. Actually, it was early this year, but I didn't do it because it just didn't seem worth it to me for the new special features. However, there are times where you just know the issues with the rights and the companies who are working together, and you just know that this set's not going to happen every once in a while. I mean, the last time this happened was 7 years ago, and that set went out of print fast, and it went up in price real fast, and this is going to happen again. This may seem pricey right now, but this price is not going to go down. It is just going to keep climbing up, and then that out of print set, which went down in price the second this was announced, that's going to start going up in price again too, because all of these will be out of print. They'll probably do a smaller version, but it will go out of print because, you know, Shout Factory, they can only have the rights for so long, and when you got so many companies working, I'm just telling you, you got to do it now, I think. And I'm not a spokesperson for Shout Factory, but I'm just saying, you got to be careful, you know. I mean, there's some movies you can trust to always be there, available for you to buy on Blu-ray. I mean, Toy Story, if you want it, it's there. Same special features they've had since 2010. Go get it. The original film has a lot of good special features on it. But there's sets like this where there's so many issues, so many rights issues, so many different companies involved. This is going to be your one time, and that's why I did it. Of course, then again, maybe I'm a sucker. This is a real long episode, but I got a lot of good stuff this week, and now, for the amount of money I spent, I better never buy another set on Blu-ray ever again. I think I'm gonna stop. This is it. Maybe the last episode. That's a lie. You all know at this point I'm lying. You know, we're how many, like 70-some episodes in now. You know I'm always saying this at the end of the video, but thanks for watching, everybody. Tell me what you think of some of these movies. Tell me if you ended up getting that Friday the 13th set. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the video, and special shout out to Anthony, Anna, Kirsten, Lucas, Ryan, and Robert for the support on Patreon. By joining my Patreon, you can get exclusive videos and blogs, and for only $7, you can request your own movie review. I hope you stick around, cinephile, and have a happy, productive day.